The U.S. weight loss market is $58 billion. That's a lot of Benjamins. And in this world, money is power. Is it really any wonder why there's so much conflicting information out there about diets, about what's truly healthy to eat? And is it really any surprise that there are so many books, so many products, if you go to the grocery store, so many workshops for weight loss and for diet, and this is the diet for everyone. This is the healthiest diet. This is the best possible diet for everyone. Is it really any wonder when you have that much money involved? $58 billion. With money comes control and power. So where do you start in improving your health? Well, as I've said for years, you start with what you're putting into your body. Your home itself is going to be one of the last things you address. You're going to start with what you're putting into your body. And that includes pharmaceuticals, supplements, any devices that you use on your body, such as those that integrate into the Internet of Things, and what you eat, your diet, the food that you consume. That's where you start. I started on my journey in regards to food in 2009. Could have been 2008, but I'm pretty sure it was 2009. That's been a while, hasn't it? It's been quite some time. And it is a journey. This isn't a journey of perfection. Now, some people who are incredibly sensitive do have to eat perfectly, basically, or they can't eat. And I personally have shared repeatedly in our book, Poisoned, that I didn't eat for 8 months before we moved into our house. My body rejected all food, period. Everything, even weeds that could not have been sprayed by Roundup, etc., from the middle of a 50-acre woods where we were living at the time. So, obviously, the good Lord saw me through. Sorry if that offends you. It's the it's the truth. The good Lord saw me through. I was not done here yet. He wanted me to share this sort of information with you. He wanted me to share the results of years and years and years of experience and implementation of various methods of improving health, and over 100,000 hours of research at a minimum, reading studies, reading books, consulting people who are authoritative in various fields, contacting study implementers, contacting professors and asking them questions about their studies, contacting virologists, all of these sorts of people. You can contact the people who publish the study and ask them questions about the study, by the way. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You are allowed to do that, and I encourage you to do that. If you have questions about a study, contact the person who published the study. Or the people who wrote it. There's going to be, typically, most of the time, there's more than one person involved. I have used food as medicine since 2009. We've got a number of videos up on various herbs like turmeric, ginger, ginkgo biloba. Foraging is important for us. We've got a video up on foraging, and if you don't want to watch or listen to the video on foraging, I've got the resources below that I consider the best foraging books for the Midwestern United States, and there's also one for the world, which is pretty awesome, in my opinion. I've researched pretty much every diet out there. A lot of them are hokum. A lot of them are just absurd, just ridiculous diets. I tried the GAP diet. It didn't do anything for me. I tried paleo. I tried raw. I tried vegan. You can pretty much name it. If I didn't research it, I tried it. I didn't try a whole lot of them because a lot of them I identified as just ridiculous. So there's so much conflicting information and research out there on diets, but why? Well, number one, we've already talked about this. $58 billion. This is power. Researchers have conflicts of interest. They are funded by Typically, for example, South Beach Diet. I'm not picking on South Beach Diet here. It's just what came to mind. They've been huge. I mean, they made a ton of money because they had not only the books, but they had also all sorts of South Beach Diet products in grocery stores. I don't even know if they're still a thing or not. It doesn't matter. It's not interesting to me. So one reason why there's so much conflicting information out there on what's good to eat and what isn't is the conflicts of interest. And not only the 58 billion diet weight loss industry is to blame here, but also the agricultural industry. And I apologize. I did not look that up, did not look that information up. But the organic industry is also very large. There are some chemical-free farmers who were organic before organic was a thing, and they said once organic becomes corporatized, it's over, forget it. And we're there now because a lot of things that are certified as organic, granted they're generally better, okay, it's generally better, but not always. Like, for example, if you can get from a local farmer, it's going to be much better. That a local farmer, you can go to their farm and ask them questions and see the products they use. But the organic certification has been corporatized and just twisted. There are hydroponic blueberries, for example. They're grown in water with chemicals in them, and they're certified as organic. They're not grown in the soil. If something's truly organic, it's got to come from the soil, not from a chemical slurry in water. This silly, silly world. Another reason why there's so much conflicting information is there's poor research methodology. Speaking from someone with a background in academia, I can state this confidently. Also, another major reason why there's so much conflicting information as to which diet is the best for everyone is that there is no diet that's best for everyone, period. For me personally, I've never been a fan of meat. When I was a kid, I liked crispy bacon and I liked tacos. And that was it. All other meat, chicken, fish, turkey, I didn't like it at all. It was revolting to me. And as I got older, just became more and more unpleasant to me. Now, a lot of people will say it's Lyme disease. Oh, well, if you don't like meat, then you have Lyme disease. Okay. So the tests. Let's talk about the tests, because tests are never as accurate as the test manufacturers want us to believe. For the Lyme spirochete, I forget what it's called, that test, or there are different tests, there's not just one test. If you take 50 people, for example, who are asymptomatic for Lyme disease, don't have any symptoms at all, and you use whatever test you want on them, it doesn't matter, because I've seen the reports, the anecdotal and the empirical data. That was very well done, actually, with people without conflicts of interest. Some of these studies weren't published. If you look, it's just amazing. These tests, if you test someone enough times, they're gonna test positive for Lyme. And I'm talking about asymptomatic people who don't have any symptoms of Lyme disease. So it's not Lyme disease that's the issue. It's not the problem. Terrain theory. Learn about terrain theory. We've got a video up on the true root causes of dis-ease. My aversion to meat and how I felt after I ate meat was not because of Lyme. It's because it's not good for me. It's not good for everyone. Some people, their bodies don't want it. They don't need it. No. There are some people, I have a very good friend, for example. She really needs meat. Vegetables and fruit are just not enough for her. She's in mold. She's extremely sick, extremely chemically sensitive. God bless her soul. She seems to need it. It is what it is. I don't disparage her, and she doesn't disparage me. I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for a long time. Now, don't be like, oh, you're going to die. Everything's your fault because you're vegetarian. Have you looked at the funding for the research that you're pretending to quote that you pretend to read? Is there any reason, is it any surprise that every week the mainstream media says, oh, this thing that you've been eating for all of your life is bad for you? And then the next week it says, oh, this thing that you stopped eating because we told you to stop eating it last week, it's actually good for you. Is there any surprise that that's the world that we're living in? Back and forth. Good. Oh, it's good. No, it's bad. Oh, it's good. No, it's bad. It depends on the day of the week or the week itself as to whether a particular food is healthy or not. That's because money. You cannot trust the media. You can't trust the alternative media either, for that matter. My body seemed to need raw dairy for a time before we moved into our healthy home. Now I do eat raw cheese, and I eat ghee, and I eat eggs, specially sourced. Of all three are specifically sourced. Could I survive without all three? Absolutely. Sometimes my body just really wants a hard-boiled egg, and so I eat a hard-boiled egg. But meat, any animal byproducts besides these specific three things make me feel absolutely terrible. I've tried all sorts of products over the years. Everything makes me feel terrible. One of the reasons I think for the issues with meat is because of the toxic sanitizers that are used. And this is required by the USDA here in the United States. There have been, I think, 2 Amish farmers that I'm aware of who have had, I think, $500,000 penalties imposed on them because they recognized that all of the sanitizers that are USDA approved for meat processing were toxic, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. And they processed their own meat cleanly, safely, humanely, and sold it. And that's not okay according to the US government. The problem, the trap that a lot of people fall into is that of a diet, not a lifestyle. So Dave and I don't diet. We don't have a diet. We have a lifestyle in which most of what we eat is good for our teeth. There's a book, Cure Tooth Decay, which I'll link to below. I haven't been to the dentist since 2003, and I have all of my teeth. Now, they're not perfect, but I have all of my teeth. And I do have one tooth that's got a bit of a cavity that I'm having a bit of it's very, very, very minor, super minor. But it's been 20 years now. 20 years since I've been to a dentist. 20 years. Look, I have teeth. Every single one of them. The Cure Tooth Decay does have a lot of really wonderful information in it. I don't agree with some of the information, as you might surmise. I don't agree with, some of the things that I believed 4 years ago. So that's part of being an adult, is recognizing when you were wrong about something and changing your mind. When you are given new evidence, you don't get mad about it because that's cognitive dissonance, but rather you ingest it, look for further evidence, and then analyze. Was I wrong or was I correct in this belief? People get emotional about diets. Please don't send me anything more about diets. I love you guys. I realized I was confused. Okay, I gotta say, I was confused. Why people have consistently sent me things about, this is the diet for everyone. This is the best diet for everyone, for years now. And then I realized, wait, I don't have a post specifically dedicated to diet on the website. Thus, this is not a something that you're going to be perfect. A diet basically is perfect, or you have one cheat day. Okay, if you are just living a lifestyle of being healthy, then there is no cheat day. There is, you eat mostly extremely healthy, nutrient-dense foods that your body appreciates, because your body is changing. Your body is not static. Okay, I already shared that my body used to need raw cheese. It doesn't need raw cheese now, but it likes raw cheese sometimes. And it doesn't hurt. Your body may reject raw cheese but like I said, it's very specifically sourced. So a lot of people throw the baby out with the bathwater. They react to an eggplant one time from the grocery store, and they say, I'm allergic to eggplant. I can never eat eggplant again. That's throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because you don't know everything that went into that eggplant. You don't know how it was handled. If you go to the grocery store, okay, please don't get your produce from the grocery store. Even organic grocery stores, because they have these terrible, terrible waxes that are put on fruits and vegetables that are wholly unhealthy. Bill Gates has something to do with one thing. The genetically modified movement is strong. And I know organic isn't supposed to be genetically modified, but there's a percentage that is permitted for a food to be certified as organic. It's not 100% organic. So I don't remember what it is. I think it's 20%. They've changed it actually multiple times, so who knows what it is today. So if you buy something that you think that is certified as organic, it's not going to be 100% organic. You don't have that 100% guarantee. Just saying. Now, there are some specific diets that helped me, that I did for a time. So the low histamine diet was essential for me with the mast cell activation syndrome and all of that. Just the hot mess that I was in. We were living in mold. It was when we were in southern Indiana living in a woods. This was 2015 when I started the low histamine diet, and I had to stay on that until until I couldn't eat anymore. So I was on that for a few years, but I wasn't perfect on it. And a lot of times when I tried to eat, for example, tomato or something, I would have a problem, but it varied a bit seasonally. So there's that as well. I know a lot of people swear by raw diets, and then other people say, no, everything needs to be cooked. So which is it? Well, here's the thing. Based on my experimentation, and your experience may vary, I validate that. Based on my experimentation, it's not so much whether it's cooked or raw or not, because in the wintertime, you can't, if you live in a temperate climate, you can't really eat a raw diet of real food unless you've got a heated greenhouse, because a lot of the things that you get from the grocery store is just not as healthy for you as it should be. And you want to eat in season as much as possible. So when things are seasonal and I'm able to eat fresh, I feel wonderful. It helps me a lot. In the wintertime, I'm fine with cooked foods. In the summertime, I'm fine with cooked foods. It varies. It varies as to what my body wants. Sometimes my body wants something cooked. Sometimes my body wants something raw, because the nutrients that are available raw versus the nutrients that are available cooked differ. Sometimes cooking actually releases some nutrients. Sometimes cooking negates some harmful things, such as oxalates in greens. So sometimes cooking can help. Sometimes raw is better. For example, I think it is a lycopene. Don't quote me on this. I think it's a lycopene that oftentimes is more bioavailable in raw vegetables. So it varies. You have to be in tune with your body. You have to be listening to your body. It's best to do a variety. Variety is the spice of life. We're given a wide variety of foods to eat for a reason. But as I said, some things are going to be bad for some people. Meat is terrible for me. Dave ate meat for a while until his body said, no, meat is bad for me now. I don't want to eat any meat. Ew. Why are you hurting me? So the low histamine diet helped me for a time. Another one is the Candida diet. I had sinus infections for 10 months, a year, for many years. I believe a lot of that was because of mold. Can't be for sure. But also I was on so much pharmacia, so many pharmaceuticals. But these aren't, if you're doing an actual diet, then actual diets are only short term. They're not a long term thing because, limiting some things can deny your body of what it needs. But like I said, some people, I think that the blood type diet might have some validity here because some people seem to need meat. Some people's bodies hate meat. Some people, meat is poison. Even if they raised a rabbit, processed it themselves, just use soap and water. That would be me. Okay. Meat is terrible for me. But some people need it in order to survive. And I validate that. But remember, your body is not static. What you need today, you may not need tomorrow. What you need tomorrow, you may not need today. It's the wisest thing you can do is try to eat a variety of things, but be informed. Grains, for example, that are not properly prepared, beans that are not properly prepared, and seeds, something else. Grains, beans, and seeds that are not properly prepared, think Weston A. Price method, are harmful to your teeth. Those phytates are harmful to your teeth, your dental health. So you want to properly prepare them. I personally don't do well with grains for the most part anymore. My cat's meowing. I'll be there soon, sweetheart. It's her breakfast time. She eats two little squares a day. But the beans, seeds, nuts. That's it. Beans, seeds, nuts. You want to, and grains, you want to properly prepare them. But there will be times when your body doesn't do well with them. Grains, I think grains for most people probably aren't so good for most people in general. Like I said, I'm not going to make a sweeping statement against grains for everyone, properly prepared grains for everyone. I personally have tried properly preparing wheat, and I do not tolerate it. I tried making sourdough bread from scratch multiple times, multiple different recipes, tried all sorts of different things. No, it hurts my teeth, and that is what it is. I took so many pharmaceuticals for so long. It's a wonder I have any teeth left at this point, quite frankly. So what's the best diet for everyone? As local as you can get, as clean as you can get. If you can't buy organic, that's fine. As many fruits and vegetables typically as you can get, but again, you don't want to overwhelm yourself with fruits because a lot of people have issues with candida these days. I do think candida and mercury have something going on, and I think candida might be slightly or quite significantly mercury protective, and I think that might be, as far as the neurodegenerative aspects of mercury upon the brain, I've seen limited evidence of this and a little bit of anecdotal evidence besides myself. I think it might be true. I'm not sure though. It's just a theory. So eat, as clean as you can. A lot of times there are CSAs near you, although a lot have gone out of business lately. There are places like Market Wagon, which I'll link to below, that they have open, they basically, it's a farmer's market to your door. Also going to, the farmer's markets themselves. Some of them may not be chemical free, but it's still going to be better because the closer that you are to the harvest of the food, then the more nutrients you're going to get from that, from whatever you're eating. And carrots, for example, there's a lot of demonization of carrots because carrots are used by farmers to clean up their fields. So you never want to eat carrots from the grocery store, including organically certified. But if you get carrots from your garden, I had to actually, there's this guy with a vitamin A diet who says that wild rabbits never eat carrots from the garden. That's not true. That's absolutely 100% a falsehood. I don't understand why people make such easily disproven statements, because I had to put hardware cloth around the bottom of our garden because rabbits were getting in and taking the carrots, and then they would move on to the onions, and then to the kale and the lettuce. And the vitamin A diet basically says don't eat anything with collar. And if someone is for some reason extremely toxic in vitamin A, and it may be of benefit for a time, but there are a number of bloggers who have tried it and said it was awesome, and then they ended up very sick and deficient from it. So is vitamin A even a vitamin? I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the clear evidence that eating just things that are white and avoiding anything with collar is not health promoting. I mean, it's quite illogical if you really think about it. Lycopene, for example, you're not going to get that, and lycopene helps to prevent sunburns. There are so many things that are in nutrient-dense foods that you can't get just from eating one collar of food, and it's just illogical. But the best diet for everyone is going to be one that's locally sourced as much as possible. Eat the weeds. I'm serious. Go look at our foraging resources. I'll link to it below. Eat the weeds, because those are most nutrient dense. And a lot of people are going, just like the Great Depression, a lot of people who survive the coming food shortages. I'll link below, by the way, to an article on creative food sources in food shortages. A lot of people who survive the coming food shortages are going to do so partly because of foraging, because they have learned how to identify the weeds around them. And a lot of people who are able to sort of fend off the increased toxicity of the world are going to be able to do so because they aren't minerally deficient due to eating nutrient-dense weeds that require no work, just harvesting. Absolutely amazing. Use food as medicine. We've got all sorts of information on herbs up. Like I said, we mostly avoid grains. We eat from the garden. We eat from whatever grows around in the yard. There's a farmer on Market Wagon that I specifically buy from, who lives in the northern part of the state. She's an absolutely lovely person, because our CSA here closed, and some of the others that were around here aren't doing much anymore. And then there are some that I don't know how they make a profit, because they never have anything to offer, really. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But there are lots of options for things that you can grow on your deck in pots. I actually have some things growing in pots myself, and I'm probably going to transition to growing more in pots, quite frankly, because yesterday I discovered that the trees are in some of my garden beds, which means that they're stealing the nutrition and the water that my plants that I'm actually trying to grow need. There's a lot you can do to improve your health with diet. You have to start somewhere. But the most important thing is to be sure that you're eating real food. If you're getting your food from the grocery store, then you shop from the outer edge. You get actual vegetables, actual eggs, you get not the eggs in a box. That's not food. That's chemicals in there. Cereal, that's not a food. Dried beans are fine. Dried dehydrated foods are fine. We dehydrate. Canned things, there's BPA free and BPA, and I would avoid canned goods because a lot of the BPA alternatives have been found to be just as bad as BPA now. That's regrettable substitution as far as the industry goes. It's a literal term, regrettable substitution. So I hope this has been beneficial to you because, a lot of people stress out about their diet. Again, please don't send me information about diets. I started addressing that in 2009. I think it was 2009. It could have been 2008. But clearly, we've addressed diet. Not many people eat cleaner than I do, quite frankly. Not many people eat less processed than I do. I buy I buy olive oil. I don't press the olives. I do buy olive oil. I buy ghee. I buy raw cheese. And otherwise, everything that I eat is out of the ground or from a chicken egg. That is real food. At the same time, we do like our treats now and then. You don't need to strive for perfection here. We have a few things that we put some oats in, such as our nutrient-dense chocolate chip cookies, but you can make I'll link to that below, but I won't link to it. Just go to our website and look at the recipes tab. But we eat smoothies. We eat real food. I don't have many recipes up because a lot of times what we eat, we eat a lot of salads when the time is right to eat salads. There's no recipes for salads. I make my own dressing. Dave instead puts some honey on his. A lot of times I'll have stir fries with zucchini and things. We have just mixtures of raw veggie, or like tomatoes and peppers, and I don't even know what else. Like some cooked cold beans that I mix in with an amazing, delicious dressing, and we eat that for a few days. Some days, if we're rich in watermelon in the summer, then I'll just eat watermelon. And that will be just amazing for my body because that's what my body craves. That's what my body needs that day. You don't need to stress about this. What you need to do is to just try to clean things up. It's not an immediate thing. If you're brokety broke, there are things that you can improve your diet by eating from food pantries, and in a lot of areas there are so in the U.S. if you call 211 you should be able to find more information. A lot of areas there are traveling vans or traveling trucks that have produce that otherwise would have been discarded by grocery stores, and they set up at in a parking lot, like a church parking lot or whatever, one day a week, or at different locations in the city, in the metropolitan area, and you can get fresh produce from them. A lot of, or not all, but some food pantries have gluts of produce from local farmers that are donated in the summertime, and if you don't take it, then they'll just throw it out. So these are like soup kitchens, for example, do this. There was a time multiple times actually, when we went to food pantries, and most of what we ate was from food pantries. So don't think that I'm completely out of touch with you if you're broke, if you're on if you're living below poverty, on disability and that sort of thing, because I've been there, we've been there. I understand. I was there, but I still improved my health in spite of those financial difficulties, in spite of those financial restraints. I figured it out, and you can too. You can too. All right. Hopefully this has helped. Until next time, Non-Toxic out.